Hey everybody, it's Kat, and today we're going to be making 3 resin projects using Amazing Clear Cast. So the first project we're making are these no bezel resin pendants, and they were inspired by these silicone measuring spoons that I found in my local Walmart. I'm also using Amazing Clear Cast, and here I'm going to pour out 2 equal parts of part A and part B of the resin. And then I'll combine the two and gently fold them together. I'm going to mix for about 2 minutes, making sure that I'm scraping the sides of the cups, and then I'll let it rest for an additional 2 minutes. Here I'm adding the first layer of resin to the spoons, to the measuring spoons. This is going to be the bottom layer, and so I'm just going to fill it up about halfway, and then I'm going to let it cure. Whenever I get spillage or my hands get resin on them, I always use baby wipes. They're a great way to clean up the resin. Next, I printed up some images. I used computer graphics, both the clear and the matte, to print up the images. I created a little template of the inside of the bezels, and then I just cut them out. Now on the matte paper, I decided to add a little bit of color, so I'm using these permanent markers just to paint over certain areas on the images. Next, I remove the backing off the images and I place them on top of the cured resin. I then used a stylus, or you can use a popsicle stick, to press them firmly onto the resin. Next, I mixed up another batch of resin and added it to the top of the image. Before the resin cures, I added these Confetti Stars to the resin. Now that the resin is cured, I simply pop them out of these silicone measuring spoons. Now you can see the difference between the clear and the matte film that I printed the images on. Next, I'm marking where I'm going to drill the holes for my little eye hooks. If you don't feel comfortable using the drill on the resin, you can always glue a bail to the back of your pendants. But I'm just going to go ahead and make little holes and then screw on the little eye hooks. Next, I'm using a metallic pen and just added a little bit of dots around the border of the bezel. I knew I wanted to add one additional layer of resin just to give it more of a domed look, and so I mixed up a new batch, added it to the top of the bezel, and before it cured, I added these little rhinestone strands. I assembled my pieces, and now I have these no bezel resin pendants. Next, we're going to be painting with resin. Now you can add color to your resin by using the Alumilite dyes. Today I wanted something with a little bit more sparkle, and so I added glitter to the resin. Normally after mixing in the glitter, I would let it rest. I would let the resin rest for about 2 minutes. But because I'm applying it with a paintbrush, I needed it to be a little bit thicker. So I ended up waiting about 10 minutes, and then I dipped in my paintbrush and I applied it to the image. I did one color and then I let it cure, and then I added pink glitter. I applied it and let it cure. Now don't worry about any bumps or anything like that when you're applying the resin. This is a self-leveling resin, so it will smooth out after a little while. I next painted a wood base. I glued my resin image once it was cured onto the base, and I added little details like rhinestones and ribbon, and this piece is done. Okay, so I love anything space related. And when I came across the silicone ice cube tray that had little rockets in it, well, I knew I had to make myself a little rocket pendant. I mixed up a batch of Amazing Clear Cast, added some super fine silver glitter, mixed it up, and then poured it into the mold and let it cure. Now once it was ready, I popped it out of the mold, and then I drilled holes on the top and the bottom to add my little eye hooks. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can just glue a bail to the back of your pendant. Now because the ice cube tray had a matte finish, the rocket, when it came out, it also had a matte finish. And so in order for me to bring back that shine, I had to brush on an additional coat of Amazing Clear Cast. Now once the piece was cured, I added some chain and beads, as well as a compass on one of them and a bead on the other one, attached it to a chain, and this piece is ready for me to wear. My only hope is that I get to wear it on the day that our space program takes us to Mars. To get a complete list of materials used in this tutorial, see the description below. This video is brought to you by www.moldputty.com.